Okay, while we're waiting for that to come up, I will just ask a quick question and a show of hands. Who here is brilliant at change? Okay, we've got a couple. Right, you're in my corner. The rest of you will get you caught up by the end of the session. So hi, I'm Luca Wanuka. I am founder of the One Change Method. And it's all about unlocking the superpower of change. We all live in a world where we want to change, but change isn't that easy. We see that in our businesses. We try and bring teams along with change. We see that in our personal lives. The problems are often quite big. There's a lot of apathy. Sometimes it just feels too much. So the One Change Method is about changing that. It's not about us not wanting to change. It's just about us not knowing how to. So what happens when you make one change a month? So 5.5 years ago, I committed to making one change a month to reduce my negative impact on the world. After that, and 60 plus changes ever since, that's totally changed what my life looks like. It's changed the art on my walls. It's changed the house that I live in. It's changed the food that I eat, the rubbish in my bin or the lack of rubbish in my bin. It's changed the fact that I now run a pub on a Tuesday night in my community. It's changed every single aspect of my life, not just at home. Changing in your personal life also means you become really agile and a bit of a legend in the work life too. So we developed One Change a Month as an ability to help people learn it as a skill. If we see change as a skill that needs to be figured out and learned, it takes away a lot of the challenges and the reasons why people don't want to change. So it desensitizes the fear of change by making one change a month. You learn things. You learn that half the changes you make aren't actually going to work, which helps you deal with small little failures on a very often frequent basis. It makes you question, why didn't they work? Why isn't it as easy as we'd like to think it is? It builds agency and momentum, so it does away with apathy. We might not be able to, eat the whole elephant, but you can. If you take one bite at a time, you can get there. Not that I'm suggesting we all eat elephants. Small wins create confidence, and we get to the point where it doesn't feel quite as scary, and it feels like we're actually achieving something. It creates consistency. It creates psychological safety in a business if your team members are making one change a month as well, because quite often we will get it wrong, and that getting things wrong just becomes quite normalised within a business. And we can scale the idea of making one change a month, whether that's you as an individual, you in your family, in your set of friends, or even in your businesses and your larger communities. So recently was an interview guest on the Chief Psychology podcast. And the quote from there is, "One change at a time is the perfect behavioural rhythm. It sidesteps overwhelm. It builds a sense of safety with each success." I'll send the link out at some point to that podcast for the wider thing. So what's the actual product? For 5.5 years, I've been making 60 or so changes, as have a lot of people that I've come into contact with. So it's a bit infectious. You say, "Oh, I'm doing this," and then the next time they see you, "So what was your change this month?" "Oh, and I made this change, and I did this." So we built 5.5 years worth of ideas from myself and the community that have kind of clocked onto the idea of making one change a month. And we've created a community hive mind app, which is called the One Change Method. So you go in, you create a profile, you pick how much time that you want to invest in that change that month. You pick if you've got any money to invest in that change that month. It could be £5, it could be £10, it could be £40. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, it could be no minutes. And then you pick from a variety of about 15 different headings. So that could be culture, community, waste, clothing, systemic change, diversity, you name it, there's something that will cover it. And then the app gives you the 5 changes that you could do that fits within your categories. And it asks you to commit to one of them. And then at the end of the month, it's a bit like a Duolingo, gamified. At the end of the month, how did that work out for you? Did it work? Didn't it work? What did you use? Did you switch product? What were the pros? What were the cons? And that information goes back into the idea. So the next person clicking on that is much more informed about what the pros and cons of each change are. over the course of a period of time. Data obviously comes out of that about what changes people are making, what works and what doesn't work, what impact they've had, which is great on an individual basis. We all need a bit of motivation to see what the incremental increase is. So think kind of your Spotify end of year roundup coming towards you in an app form of how much impact those 12 changes you've made have created. But over and above that, if you do that as a family or as a community or as a business, the data inside of that becomes really valuable and really encouraging. So these are some of the change categories that we do. I've mentioned some of them already. Things like healthy attitude, nutrition, sustainability, etc. They're all hive mind created ideas. So the business model is, at the moment, we are at MVP stage. We've got the basic app available. It's free. We're just gathering proof of concept, interest, people coming in and making their changes. We're getting the kind of word of mouth back from that and getting feedback as to how it's going, how infectious it is when you start doing this. So there's a freemium model there already. Our future, our hope, and what we'd want investment for is a subscription model that's based on either businesses or larger organisations. We've had a lot of interest from local councils who are trying to push the needle on actual behavioural change in households throughout our country. So that's where we want to get to. At the moment, it's a side hustle. We are at very, very early seed kind of basis. We run a community as a different part of our business, which is informing us in terms of how communities operate, the numbers that are involved in, if you've got 100 people, how many of those people are actually going to be your kind of real kind of warrior champions, and how to get that engagement, keep that engagement and build that engagement. So that's where we are at the moment. These are some of the quotes. I won't dwell on it too much, but it's just a bit of an idea of how just making one tiny, tiny change can make such a big difference over time. So as we discussed, at the moment it's very individual based. It's collaboratively based within a community app. So people are talking about their changes and what they're going to do next and asking for advice. We'd like to take it much further. We'd like to launch the app at scale. So we're looking for investment in terms of technology. We're looking for pilot partners. So anybody in the audience who wants to have a go at the beta app, come see us on the stand just out there, and we'll send you the link to get going on that. We're looking for champions. I've built many businesses in my time, and they've mainly been organic, and then they've been mainly me at the centre of them. This one, it's more than me. I don't have all the skills that this one takes, so I'm looking for champions and people that are interested to get involved to supplement the skills that I don't have. I'm great at ideas, I'm great at passion. I kind of get stuck into the weeds as well, but I don't have technology expertise for a start. Marketing, those kind of elements. I don't want to do this on my own this time. It needs to be bigger. So that's what I'm looking for. Any questions?
Hi, Lou. I'm curious as to how this kind of stands in terms of being a business, though. What kind of traction have you seen to date? How many downloads, bearing in mind that it's free? What do you project to be the number of downloads in the first year? And have you determined what may be the correct subscription price? And how have you determined that compared to other types of apps like this?
We've been dabbling around with where this can go. So for one example, we've put it into another business community and asked and given it a quite specific remit. So in that industry, which is actually the events industry, we went to community in that and asked that community to make one change a month in their industry. So there's about 150 or so within that community that kind of commit to make one change a month within how they create events. So we've been dabbling around with the various different applications of it. The freemium app that's just coming out now is literally brand new. Up until then, it was a web shop where people went into a Shopify and shopped for ideas. We are still very much in our kind of community phase. We've got about 30 people as part of our community that we're trying these ideas out on. So very, very early days. In terms of the financials of going into the business world, no, I don't have that skill, that number at the moment.
Hi, great presentation. One question that I had was about the team. It sounds like you're a solo founder, right?
I have a team of, there's 3 of us. So I have an administrator. We work across 2 businesses. So this is our new upcoming business. Mm-hmm. So we run the community in the other business. So we have the kind of community manager side of things covered by Fiona, and then Tamla does all of our marketing side of things. So we've got small scale side of things.
And what's your background?
My background is in the events industry. So originally, operationally, so I used to deliver events that filled the whole of this building and across the world. So lots of different industries, lots of different exposures. A real kind of doer, but with, I don't think I should have been in the job. My mind goes too free.
Have you been an entrepreneur before?
Yes. I've been an entrepreneur for about the last 20 years or so. So, yes.
Thank you.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Thank you. I'm interested in what other technologies are out there that do this kind of thing. Do you have any competition?
Yeah, there's competition kind of on the sides of things. So there's a lot of kind of business engagement tools that just focus maybe on sustainability or on behaviour change. But this is actually the only one that we've found that's purely on change. In the personal space, there's apps around habit change, but again, they're quite narrow. So it might be a mental well-being app that purely focuses on one side of things. But I think we're the only one that really focuses on change as being the skill that needs to be acquired. And one of the reasons why we've got to that point is during COVID, the events industry obviously struggled. For about 2 years, we couldn't run events. We spent 2 years in our community talking about what changes we were going to make when COVID came out, like a lot of us probably did. When we came out, we went back to running events and we ran them exactly the same. No changes. So that's what convinced me that it's not that we don't want to make change, we just don't know how to, or we don't feel the security or the bandwidth to be able to. It is, I believe, a learnt behaviour.
Do I have time to ask one more question? I'm interested in the tech stack that your app is built on.
So we're using Glide at the moment as our MVP, just as the most accessible way of pulling something together without any funding.
So my other question is about your business model. You did mention freemium, B2C, but then you mentioned employees. So are you also planning to go to market B2B at some point via employee benefits or?
Yes, there'll be a few different areas of making money. So the freemium obviously is free. The premium aspect of that would be subscription based and kind of low level monetary along the lines of a family Duolingo kind of style payment. So under £100 per group. On the business side, we would be looking at it as an employee engagement tool, which increases change.
Do you already have any gamification elements in the app, or not in the MVP?
Not a huge amount. We're working on it. We can do that within Glide. So one of the reasons for coming here and having a little stand here is to kind of gather in all of what we need to do next. Yes, it's on the list for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, just finally, in terms of the impact, do you see it as being more personal or more on the outside world? Obviously, I'm aware we're at this kind of climate-oriented event. Are you trying to motivate people to sort of do better things in their lives in terms of their consumption, etc., or is it more about personal well-being?
No, it's about all of that. So actually, the change is the important bit. What you choose to make a change on is kind of up to you. So I chose originally to decrease my negative impact on the world. After 2 years of making change, that actually organically shifted into making positive impact on the world. One of our users is purely doing it selfishly for her, like her behaviours. She's got some terrible habits. She's purely looking inwardly on that. Another person will be purely looking at it from a sustainability side. I think once you start down the path, it's very easy to make 12 changes over a year. Get to 2 years, and actually you need to start looking a bit broader. And that's when it starts opening up a different form of behaviour and a different kind of mindset to find other things. That's why I stepped into the positive impact. That required me to learn new languages, and it required me to volunteer and look outside of my own little world. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much. Great. Since we have a moment, maybe before we bring Arzu up, maybe we can do quick intros on the judges' side, and I'll also give an intro myself so you have a better idea of who you're speaking to. But hi, everyone. I'm an investor at Extantia based in Berlin. We're investing across everything in climate as long as it enables significant decarbonization, investing mostly at seed and Series A, mostly on the hardware side. So if that sounds like a fit for something you're building, please find me on LinkedIn and reach out.
Yeah, hi, I'm Claire Smith from Beyond Impact VC. We're investing across nutrition, ingredients, pharmaceuticals, and materials, investing in superior, scalable, and sustainable solutions that have a relevance to climate, also nature and biodiversity, and reducing our use of resources. And I'm very proud to say that across our first portfolio, 50% of the companies that we invested in were led by female founders. So this is an area I'm very keen to support.
I'm Emily. I'm from Google Cloud, and I look after the startup business in the UK and Ireland, and have a team who work with the many thousands of startups pre-Series B in the UK. We don't only look at climate tech, although it aligns very nicely with Google's values. And so I personally am very passionate about climate tech, but also, of course, women in tech. From an investment perspective, we invest on a technology basis. So we provide investment to support founders in building on Google Cloud. And in some instances, very limited instances, where there are outstanding AI use cases being built, there are other investment vehicles as well.
Hi, everyone. I am a venture partner with PAC VC, but also an entrepreneur in residence at Carbon 13, which is a purely climate tech-focused accelerator program and fund, mainly engaging in pre-seed across many climate verticals, including, it spans very broad, so including energy, of course, material science, built environment, food systems, and enabling platforms. Over 80 plus investments to date, pre-seed stage. And I'm also an angel investor. I mainly invest in impact. I invest with several syndicates that are purely focused on diversity and teams with at least one woman founder. And I come from an operator's background where I've been basically scaling companies in the food tech space, the last one being HelloFresh, part of their management team for about 10 years, so food tech.
Awesome. Thanks, all. Okay. Arzu from Autumn, please come up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Arzu. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Ottan. At Ottan, we are reimagining waste and reinventing materials for zero waste future. 1/3 of global carbon dioxide emissions comes from the way we extract, grow, and manufacture materials. Key industries, agriculture, construction, plastics, mining consume vast amount of resources. Even sustainable materials often rely on natural resources. We designed a new circular supply chain that regenerates, not extracts. Each year, 2 billion tons of waste, agricultural waste, eggshells, nutshells, expired rice go unused. We transform this waste into high-performance solid materials. By doing so, we cut emissions, lower the energy use, and avoid resource extraction. We are now targeting 270 billion solid materials market by focusing on built environment, automotive aerospace, and consumer goods. Our beachhead market is sustainable materials, where we are now focused on furniture, interior design, and construction. We developed in our portfolio more than 25 materials, including our flagship materials, Eggy and Nutty. Eggy is made from eggshells, and Nutty is made from nutshells, which we source the waste directly from local producers. Eggy use 85% less virgin materials, reduces the carbon dioxide emissions by 65%, and fully recyclable into new Ottan materials. Our production process can seamlessly integrate into existing manufacturing processes with almost zero switching costs, which makes our model adaptable, scalable, and versatile. Here you can see Ottan materials in real life. The first image is from Porsche's concept car project. The second photo is from Otteleng's test kitchen, where we use expired lentils on the wall panels and on the furniture. And the last two photos are from Nespresso's retail furniture. In a short period of time, we received significant inbound traction from renowned companies, and we had 35 customers who use Ottan materials in their POCs and pilot projects. And with these projects, we generated £60,000 of revenue with zero marketing budget. Ottan materials both outperform the sustainable and traditional materials with low greenhouse gas emissions, high recycled content, and competitive pricing. With the distribution partners, we are expecting to reach £200,000 in sales by the end of this year. As we started to shift to licensing model, we will be able to increase the scale significantly. In our team, Ayşe brings 8 years of dedication in developing Ottan materials. Ömer brings more than 20 years of experience in sales and business development, where I bring more than 30 years of experience in product development and operations. In total, we bring 40 years of experience in working at startups, developing materials, operations, and sales, and we have a strong advisory board. We are now raising £2 million to develop our partner network, scale our production, to focus on our R&D and patent applications. Thank you for listening. I can take your questions.
Great presentation, fantastic product and fantastic progress to date. In terms of product, I'm just, I guess, trying to understand what kind of IP is there at the moment. Have you filed for patents? Are they granted?
Yes, we we have a patent application in our production process, and with the funding round, we will be able to apply for patent application for our formulas, material formulas.
And across which markets are you thinking?
The UK.
The UK first.
Hi, great
Hi.
presentation, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm really interested in some of your customers and particularly Google. Can you tell us a couple of stories about what you're doing?
Yes, so with Google, we had we got an interest in one of the UK offices. We sent our materials for the test for the application. We didn't, it didn't go live, but we got the traction.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah, it wasn't super clear to me, just as you went through, what type of materials they are and how they can be used. So what they are potentially replacing in terms of existing
Yes.
materials and the variety of use cases.
Of course. So we are replacing the natural stone or like solid materials, like composite materials, like wood, MDF, or marble and engineered stone. I can mention about our competitors that already has a significance in the market, like Durat, Foresto, Smile Plastics. So it's mostly now, because we are now focused on interiors and furniture, it is more solid materials that is used as worktops, tabletops, wall panels, but also we get significant traction from automotive industry.
And what is the automotive use case?
We did some pilot projects with Porsche and Kia. They use our materials in their panels and also in some surfaces on the doors.
You spoke a little bit about some of your competitors. What is different about Otter?
This significant difference comes from the we use a huge amount of waste, which makes our carbon footprint low.
And the others don't?
Yes, because like we are the first movers in this field, and some competitors they use plastics, but it also has more effect in the climate and in the nature. So our significance comes from the we use waste. We don't extract. We use what already generated in the built environment.
Amazing, thank you. And what needs to happen for you to see that curve, that growth curve that you predicted?
So with the investment, we will be able. Now we are using outsourcing our manufacture, and it's a mid-scale production. But with the funding, we will be able to shift to large-scale production. This will give us a huge leap.
Does the product come at a price premium?
Yes, it's price premium.
What's the price premium?
Like now we are close to like marble and like natural stone, but because of the scale.
So is it a higher price than
it is now. It is competitive with.
It is competitive.
It is competitive, but it's not. It sits on the premium. It's not like a
High
low
end.
cost. Yes.
High end.
Yes, because of the scale right now. But once we will be able to grow in large scale, we will be able to lower the cost significantly, and this will give us a competitive advantage.
And how have you, or how are you planning to go to market in your furniture beachhead?
So, like we are already in the market.
What's the plan forward?
So we are now, like we have a pipeline, significant pipeline with furniture manufacturers, which will allow us to increase the scale a lot, and also with distributor partners.
Distributors.
Yes.
Got it.
I'll ask one more. You mentioned about a licensing model. Can you just talk us through how that would work?
So, like, what we want to do is once we get the patent, our formulas patented, we will be able to now, because it's a company secret, but then we will be able to share our material formulas with different industries, like in automotive, which will allow us to decarbonize the material market.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we can have Caroline come up next.
Hi, good afternoon. Great to be here today. So I'm going to tell you about Dabelox, decarbonising conversations. So Dabelox accelerates heat pump installations through better AI-enabled conversations, saving time, money, and carbon. So home decarbonisation is really, really key to hitting our net zero targets in 2050. So in fact, decarbonisation will be 14% of the UK's decarbonisation, second only to the switch to EV, which is 23%, and ahead of decarbonising the grid. So it's very significant. And it means that 80% of us will need to have an air source heat pump in our home. Yet today, only 2% of houses have them. And we're up against this. I mean, goodness, the confusing headlines. Is this a good idea? Is it a bad idea? I don't know. And then overheard on Facebook. These are real quotes from Facebook columns. Is it really about the COP or is it the SCOP? It's great. I can adjust my heat curves in the winter. I'm so glad we went with an open loop system. Have you had any of these conversations about your boiler? So as a result, only 50% of people know about heat pumps. Only 20% feel informed. And this is where our real problem place is. As a result, installers are spending 20% of their time in non-sales conversations explaining this to customers. Now, this slows down their sales pipeline. It also changes the job that they need to do. They're there to install a heat pump, but they're actually having to educate and communicate with their customers along the way. And also it means that as a customer, that quality of conversation will really influence how you feel about progressing with this technology. So I'm Caroline, and along with my co-founder, CTO Chris Arnold, we have developed a solution for this. Now, my background is in retail, and I've worked in strategy roles and commercial roles and really understand the customer journey. And my co-founder is a really experienced CTO. He's built businesses from 0 to 1, and he's led some really big teams, and this is his fourth startup. And with his tech knowledge and our lived experience of having these really difficult conversations, which shouldn't be so difficult, we have got an answer. So we have Dabelox. Dabelox is an AI-powered heat coach. So it acts as an expert, it's a mentor, and it gives confidence through this journey and answers installers and homeowners' questions. So this is a B2B SaaS platform. We sell it to installers, but our consumers are both installers and homeowners. It can be accessed via a smartphone or web, and it can use voice or text. And this helps conversations become simple, personalized, and accurate. And what it's allowing us to do is create private vertical AIs systems between an installer and a homeowner, where it's the information in there is really personal to that installer and their methodology, and also that home. And our method allows us to do this mass personalization at scale. So we've only been going 4 months, but we have been working very, very fast. And we have got some great traction. So we've been on a number of founders programs, and this has also given us access to free compute, which is super helpful. We've got 3 signed LOIs, and these companies aren't just future customers. They're actually helping us co-create this. So they give us an awful lot of time, and they are really championing what we do. And what's also helpful for us is they all want slightly different things out of it, which is helping us build something with some real breadth in it. We've got a compelling and committed advisory board. They speak with us regularly. We've created the MVP, and that's now out testing. And then collaborations, which is something really important to Dablocks. We want to work with other people in this industry, and that's why we've sought out the conversations, because we think that is being underserved. So it's no surprise that we've made such great traction, because actually this is a massive market opportunity. Now, when we look at the TAM for our software, it's 6 billion, and that's taking about 0.4% of the market. So actually, the heat pump market is growing and is going to be huge. So we take a tiny slither, but it could still be 6 billion as a TAM. Our projections for growth, we are a software company, so we're very high margin, so we hope we can break even in year 2. But this also allows us to save carbon. So we have assumed that actually with 18% market penetration and 30% of the installations happening with Dablocks only due to Dablocks, we could save 9.8 million tonnes of CO2e per year by 2035. But there's also a load of much wider important things to think about when we think of the switch from a gas boiler to an air source heat pump. Because we're here in London, and headlines in the last month have talked about the nitrate oxide pollution in London is now from gas boilers, not from cars. So the EV piece is happening. Now it's our homes we need to focus on. So where are we today? Well, we started in February. We are now testing our MVP with installers, and that is a wonderful roller coaster. Come October, we'll be starting to look at doing a funding round, SEIS. And probably in parallel, we'll be doing our beta launch, where we'll be doing paid pilots after we've got through this full testing. Then it's this time next year when we want to do a full launch. And I've just come back from the installer show, so we've been up there talking to both customers and the industry as well. And then beyond that, when we get to 2027, it's looking at how we can move out into much broader retrofit areas and look at new geographies, because our platform also can transcend languages very easily. So that's us. We are turning talk into coziness by creating better conversations about air source heat pumps. Thank you.
Great presentation. Thank you so much. I'm interested in your business model and the way that you're going to be taking this out to customers. And my understanding, which was that the AI kind of listens to the conversation between the installer and the customer. Can you just talk me through that a little bit more?
Absolutely. So the heart of what we're taking is we're looking at some of the tools that we have in an office, and actually how can we make those ready for the field. Not only ready for the field, but also to understand air source heat pumps. So when people use all those acronyms, it understands it. And we are building this with the latest technology in AI. What we're building now, you couldn't have built a year ago, but we've also brought in model context protocol straight away. So we're evolving our tools actually month on month as the technology around us builds. So in its simplest form at the moment, it takes 3 sets of data. So it will take the installer data, the conversations an installer has had with a homeowner, and some very curated industry data, brings that together in a private LLM. And then if we want to use different words around it, we can talk about it. It's a note taker and it's a notebook. But it's around actually making that really frictionless for an installer to talk to a homeowner. They don't have to send them an Otter transcript. It's all there in a system that both the installer can access and also the homeowner can access.
Yeah, I'm not sure you answered the question on the business model. Who's your customer and what are they paying?
Yes, absolutely. So our customers will be the installers. We are really focusing on that, which is part of the way through the customer journey, but we know that trying to sell this to homeowners would be very difficult to start off with. So we're starting with the installers, and our model is it will be a monthly fee based on the number of engineers that they have. We're starting off with looking at £50 per engineer per month, and we know we will need to discount that. Our ambition would be that we can make this very accessible. So that's why we want some investment to be able to actually offer this more affordably. So this means that every air source heat pump company can have this and doesn't need to make a decision on price.
And how many installers are there in the UK? So numbers of companies, and how many engineers might those companies have on average? Because that's actually your total addressable market, not what you mentioned before, which seemed to be the price of the amount of installed pumps.
The 6 billion is not the amount of installed pumps. That's essentially taking the number of installations times the cost of our our cost per installation of Dablux plus times the software cost. At the moment, we're still in it's still a small industry. So we've got about 8,000 engineers. There's about 3,000 companies out there. That is just the UK. But by the time we're in year 3, we'll be looking beyond the UK and we will be looking to Europe. I should add that in the industry, they're talking about we need to go from sort of 8,000 engineers up to 30,000 engineers in the next 3 years, which is where we're going to have a very growing base of newly qualified people who the ability to have in their pocket all the manuals and to be able to query things on the go will be very valuable to them.
Did you say £50 a month per engineer?
Correct.
Thanks.
So, well, the first question is about the team. I didn't quite get how you and your co-founder met and what you both bring to the team.
Great question. So we met on a Carbon-13 program. Okay. And we had a few pivots until we settled on heat pumps, which was quite near the end of the program. My background is I have been in strategy and commercial roles in strategy consultancies and then in major retailers, so Marks and Spencer's, Boots, Walgreens. And all of that has been focused on ultimately, how do you take friction away for a customer? How do you make it as easy as possible for a customer to make the decision you want? And that's the focus and the value that I'm bringing to how we develop this and how we solve that problem. My co-founder is a very experienced CTO. So this is his 4th startup. And he has taken teams from 0 to 1. His last role was as CTO of a very large wealth management platform where he had a team of 30 engineers. So he is both bootstrapping, he's coding, but we also understand what it's going to take to build a business.
And what's your go-to-market plan with the installers? And is there any other market segment that you're targeting next?
Yeah, so the first step on our market is really about building awareness. We've been out at events. We have spoken to everyone who's noisy on LinkedIn, and we're doing podcasts. So we're starting on that funnel the same way as we would for a consumer brand. We need to build that awareness. Then we'll start to work with industry partners and start to reach out and create also some affiliate programs. We rapidly want to move beyond just the heat pump. So we know that batteries and solar are the next. We've had 2 approaches from solar companies so far. We aren't yet ready to talk to them, but we probably will by mid-autumn. So there'll be a piece of moving into those. Then beyond that, we're looking at actually social housing. So social housing have to have a lot of conversations as they decarbonise homes with homeowners. And often there'll be one person put on that for maybe 200 homes. So this is where we'll start to go, actually, here is a way that you can have a very personalised conversation about your housing estate, about your installers, about your programme, but utilising both humans and this platform to have these conversations. Same goes for retrofit coordinators. There's people who have to coordinate with a lot of different industries and a lot of different people, and that will help us. The way we've built this tool also means that an installer can invite a homeowner to join a conversation, but they can also invite other tradespeople that they're collaborating with. And we think that that will be very valuable in really essentially a live demo as we go to other people. So every air source heat pump company will also be working with electricians to fit this out. They will get to see the power of these conversations too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll give the judges a few minutes to discuss, and then we'll come back and give some feedback and share. In the meantime, anyone in the audience have any interesting companies or ideas they're working on that they'd like to share? No pressure.
Hi, thank you. Well, I'm from Rochelle from Carbon Biocapture, and what we do is we capture CO2 through a technology of microalgae. So we use their photosynthesis power to capture CO2 for emitting industries that are emitting gases, SOx, NOx, all different gases, and then we capture them with that sequestration. We can have biomass, and with that biomass, we convert it into biofuels, biofertilizers, and different products. So right now we're trying to move into the urban sector where we can, for example, in a building, we can put a facade with those panels and we can capture CO2 from that building and help them to achieve their net zero goals.
Great, thanks. Anyone else? Yep.
I'm Tyorio from RenewM, and we founded a startup that takes non-recyclable waste and converts that into a biofuel that's net zero. And the idea is to replace diesel wherever in all industry sectors, especially the hard to decarbonize sectors.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elena. I am from the Awari Collective. We're essentially a bottom-up global development funding model that gives donors an opportunity to feel empowered and see the direct impact of their donations. So we support small grassroots organizations in sub-Saharan Africa. Right now we're piloting in Nigeria, Kenya, and Uganda. And basically we connect those organizations with donors. They're highly vetted, and the donors can see exactly where their funds go, form a relationship, and basically interact in the form of content. So right now we're pre-pilot stage. We're launching the pilot in August, and yeah, looking for people who are interested in joining. Thanks.
Thanks. I think we have time for one or two quick additional ones.
Okay, hi, I'm Zara. Sorry, I'm sat at the back. I'll just stand up. I'm Zara. I am the sole founder of WonderHer. It's an online platform for solo female travelers, and we work with local women and NGOs on the ground to train and source local women to participate more meaningfully in the tourism industry, and that's through education and training programs and encouraging social and ethical tourism, and getting them involved in low carbon activities as well. So the money stays within the local communities, and it is safer to travel as a woman. So very early stages, piloting in Zanzibar at the moment, got a partnership in Ghana. So we want to encourage travel in the developing world as well. Yeah, and we're looking for partners and investment and mentorship. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Anyone else? Okay, then we'll give them just another minute, and I think we should be good to go.
Okay, so each of us shares feedback, or
Maybe we just do one each.
we do one each? Isabella. Oh, okay. You double it. Sorry. Okay, I'll do one change. No, it's fine.
one each is perfect. Okay, we're ready to share feedback now. So I'll let each of you go for it. Maybe Claire to start.
Am I supposed to be revealing who the order and who was our kind of winner? Okay, so just like the Oscars, I've got the envelope to open here. So yes, our favoured one of the 3 startups was OTAN, and a lot of that may be because of the level of progress that has already been made with that product, the stage that they're at, which was quite impressive. So that's not to be negative about the other ones that probably just need to progress a little bit further. But what was particularly impressive about what they were doing was the traction, the number of companies that they had been able to reach out to that were testing their products that already found some use cases, and we felt that was a very strong argument in terms of favouring that particular company. The ability to produce as well the products in existing manufacturing, that's something that I encounter quite a bit in the food tech area, is sourcing that manufacturing capacity. So it's good that they seem to have places to go to do that manufacturing, but they also had in their back pocket the licensing, which makes it that much more scalable once they have the IP approved and protected. So I think those were the primary reasons why we're going for that one. So well done, Arzu.
Great, thanks, Claire, and congrats.
So keen to give feedback on the other presenters, and thank you very much for your time. Caroline, I'm going to speak about Dabbleox, and I guess it's because the AI element and the technology kind of fits very well within my knowledge, my skill set. So our feeling was that it was a great presentation and very clearly stated what the company does, and that it sounds like the technology is really clever. You know, especially the ability to eavesdrop on conversations and then provide the customer with effectively a notebook to be able to look back on, so they don't forget anything. That it's very specific to them was very intelligent, very clever use. We also saw the real benefit of starting to look at diversifying your use case outside of the air source heat pump market. I guess the things that we questioned were around the TAM, specifically based upon the number of engineers currently, and I suppose if regulations change and when the market booms, that will then increase your TAM. But for the TAM right now, that is more limited. And also, of course, the prevalence of AI in the market and whether installers would just be able to use Google Gemini, ChatGPT, something like that, to be able to gather some of this information together, or the consumers might be able to do that. So otherwise, fantastic presentation, really exciting product. I think it's just those couple of things to think about.
So I will speak about one change. With one change, that was the name, right? One change.
Correct.
I had it down right. So I felt that the presentation was really good. And where's the founder? Oh, right. The presentation was really good, really well delivered. I think that it's a real need, so probably it's definitely a nice thing to have, and a nice app to keep you on track on that. I think the employee benefit angle could have more potential in terms of being able to scale up the product with minimizing upfront funding. I think on the improvement side, I mean, obviously it's very early days. So it's an MVP, there are not enough metrics, there are only 30 people testing the product in this community. So it would be great to see what happens next, what's their feedback on the product, and how you go about scaling that. obviously, if the employee benefits will be an angle, then understanding what that pipeline looks like, what the go-to-market would be in that specific market segment. Team-wise, there are, and obviously you're looking for the right talent as you presented it, but in terms of having a well-rounded team that can deliver on this product, there is definitely improvement and new hires that need to take place. Yeah, I think this was overall the feedback. A good job.
Okay, big thank you to all of our founders, and thank you to the judges as well. Hope all of you enjoyed. Bye.